While we were all transfixed on these images, things were happening behind the scenes that may change a lot of things. As you watched this, the president's order just went through. And what exactly was that order? Well, the president, as you were watching those images, deployed the USS Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group to Latin America and the Caribbean. U.S. military deploying over 4,000 additional troops to waters around Latin America as part of Trump's counter cartel mission. U.S. military is deploying more than 4,000 Marines and sailors to the waters around Latin America and the Caribbean as part of the ramped-up effort to combat drug cartels, two U.S. defense officials told CNN. A dramatic show of force that will give the president a broad range of military options should he want to target drug cartels. The deployment of the Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group and the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit to U.S. Southern Command, which has not been previously reported, is part of a broader repositioning of military assets to Southcom, area of responsibility that has been underway over the last 3 weeks, one official said. A nuclear-powered attack submarine, additional P-8 Poseidon reconnaissance aircraft, several destroyers, a guided missile cruiser are also being allocated to Southern Command as part of the mission, the official said. A third person familiar with the matter said the additional assets are aimed at addressing threats to U.S. national security for specially designed narco-terrorist organizations in the region. On Friday, the U.S. Navy announced the deployment of the USS Iwo Jima, the 22nd MEU, and two other ships in the Amphibious Ready Group, the USS Fort Lauderdale and the USS San Antonio, but did not say where they were going. One of the officials emphasized the military buildup is, for now, mostly a show of force aimed more at sending a message than indicative of any intention to conduct precision targeting of cartels. But it also gives U.S. military commanders and the president a broad range of options should the president order military action. The ARG MEU, for example, also features an aviation combat element. The deployment of the Marine Expedition Unit, however, has raised concerns among some defense officials who worry the Marines are not trained to conduct drug interdictions and counter drug trafficking. This is not part of their mission set. They will have to lean heavily on the Coast Guard, officials said. You're assuming that's their mission. I'm not making the same assumption. Because along with that, in a separate story, that story was dated August 15th from CNN. This is dated August 19th, today. Let me bring that up for you. Donald Trump deploys 3 missile destroyers. What to know? The United States is deploying 3 Aegis-guided missile destroyers to the waters off Venezuela as part of President Donald Trump's effort to counter Latin drug cartels, according to U.S. officials briefed on the planning. The USS Gravely, USS Jason Dunham, USS Sampson are expected to arrive in the region soon, said the official who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity Tuesday because they were not authorized to comment. Later Tuesday, a White House official spokesman confirmed the deployment to Newsweek via email. White House Press Secretary Catherine Leavitt responded to a question about the reported deployment during Tuesday's press conference, saying, in part, the president is prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government. It is a narco-terror cartel. Kind of gives you a clue on where these are heading, doesn't it? A separate defense official confirmed the U.S. Navy ships have been assigned to the mission in support of counter narcotics operations. That official, who also requested anonymity, said the vessels would be deployed over the course of several months. The deployment underscores Trump's push to use the U.S. military power against cartels he blames for driving fentanyl and other illicit drugs into American communities, as well as fueling violence in U.S. cities. Trump has also pressed Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum to take a tougher stance against cartels than her predecessor, but Sheinbaum has drawn a sharp boundary on Mexico's sovereignty, rejecting proposals from Trump and others that involve U.S. military intervention. In February, Trump designated Venezuela's Tres de Agua, El Salvador's MS-13, and 6 groups based in Mexico as foreign terrorist organizations. His administration has also intensified immigration enforcement against alleged gang members. It is important to state that the declaration that the White House put out on January 20th, here's the statement designating cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations and specially designated global terrorists. I did a video the following day after this dropped saying that this was the use of force authorization. That's it. So we have 3 destroyers being deployed, along with an amphibious ready group, which consists of 2 amphibious docks and the amphibious assault ship. That's a lot of force. You have a lot of offensive force there. Does that mean we're going to go invading Venezuela or someplace like that? Probably not. Very likely not. Does this indicate that we're going to have special operations activity going on in those countries? Winky, winky. Let's look at the exact U.S. Navy press release for this. America's Rapid Reaction Force Iwo Jima ARG 22nd MEU Special Operations Capable deploys for global operations 15 August 2025. Norfolk, Virginia. Sailors and Marines assigned to the Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group, 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, Special Operations Capable, departed for a regularly scheduled deployment August 14th. So the word had already gone out. Let's just get to the nut of it. This deployment follows the ARGMEU's final certification event, Composite Training Unit Exercise, the Navy's most demanding pre-deployment assessment, which concluded July 11th. More than 4,500 sailors and Marines from the 22nd MEU comprised the force aboard the ARG's 3 amphibious ships, flagship USS Iwo Jima LHD-7, and the San Antonio-class amphibious transport dock ships USS San Antonio LPD-17 and USS Fort Lauderdale LPD-28. So let's just quickly recap. We have 3 Arleigh Burke class destroyers on their way right now to Southern Command. And in this story from Newsweek, it points out that these are being moved from Northern Command, where they were being utilized along with other assets to fight immigration and drug activity on the border with Mexico here on the continental United States. There was 1 destroyer in the Pacific and 1 destroyer in the Gulf of America. I did a video about that at the time. These assets are now being deployed to Southern Command, and it looks like they're all going to be deployed together. That's a lot of firepower. That's a lot of capability. Plus P-8 Poseidons, plus nuclear-powered attack submarines, plus you're going to have rivet joint aircraft, Reaper drones, U-2 flights more than likely. We're already using all of those on the border with Mexico. I've done a video on each and every one of those. And it seems that things are ramping up in the Caribbean, Latin America, and Mexico. And we can't forget that the New York Times reported Trump directs Pentagon to prepare options to use force against drug cartels, officials said. One official said that any possible U.S. military assets is not imminent. This story is from August 8th. And this is where they report on the New York Times report, the first report that Trump had signed a directive ordering Pentagon to prepare military options against cartels. A week later, we see the movement of the 22nd MEU and the naval ships, the destroyers. We see assets building and capabilities building. I think you know when things will pop off in a major way until things do pop off, and I do think that they eventually will with Venezuela. Until they pop off majorly, expect special operations coming from Colombia and from the sea. It's also important we can't forget, this just happened just recently. Let me bring this story up. Here's the story. As Venezuela threatens to invade oil-rich Ghana, U.S. worries about how far Maduro will go. This story is from December 7th, 2023. But Venezuela threatens to annex a majority of Ghana. May have been an effort by its leader to consolidate power at home and ahead of potential presidential elections, blah, blah, blah. Point being, built-in excuse. Built-in reason is already there. Seems kind of obvious to me, guys, that as we were watching Trump and Putin shake hands and walk down the tarmac, as we were watching this, the U.S. Navy was getting ready with this. Latin America, 3 destroyers, attack submarine, 3 landing ship docks, and now an amphibious assault ship. When you hear of a carrier battle group going to Southern Command, then it's time, and the balloon is probably going up. But until that time, we're going to keep an eye on it here on this channel, and I hope you'll stay with us. And if you liked it, hit like. Hopefully you'll subscribe and share with a friend. Let them know that while Putin and Trump were shaking hands, the U.S. was deploying over 4,000 additional troops to Latin America to counter the cartels. Things are about to get hot. Thanks. I appreciate you.